You know the vibe. All spice, no sugar. Let's get into it.
Welcome back to another episode of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast. I am coming to you with absolute fire. You know, we're in a new studio this time round. We're coming in with different energy. I'm currently in my Australian tour. What I've decided to do this episode is to bring you little bits and pieces of what I've been teaching in my Australian tour, because I know there's been so many people asking me if I am going to do a recording for this event, if I'm going to do this online. And no, you've got to be in the room to witness my magic, clearly. But for you, my beautiful followers of the Don't Sugarcoat It podcast, I'm going to bring you a little piece of what I've been teaching around Australia these last few weeks. So let's get into it. You know the vibe, all spice, no sugar. Okay, so I've been teaching a lot of feminine sales at my Australian tour recently in the last few weekends, and I've been teaching these to hundreds of women. And the reason why I actually teach this is because I've been through the investing process. I've been through the masculine sales, and I felt like, fuck that. It makes me feel ick. I'm like, surely there's another way that we can actually change the industry, come from a place of embodiment. Because I've been on the receiving end of being shamed and guilted into investing into a program, and that feels really icky for me. So as a leader in the industry, I am committed to paving a new way forward and creating a new paradigm of business, especially for female entrepreneurs. So in this episode today, we're going to go into feminine sales. I'm going to teach you about why feminine sales is so important as a female entrepreneur, and also why this is so important as a collective consciousness for us to shift from the old paradigm of business into the new paradigm of business. So as you know, I'm on my Australian tour, and to be completely honest, one of my biggest fears for this tour is doing the sales process, which is ironic because I'm teaching women how to sell. And here I am actually being shit scared of selling on stage. And I know, like, I've generated 100K sales month. I've generated a multi-six-figure business in 12 months. Like, I know that I've gotten a really good skill set of actually selling clients and teaching sales as well. But it's still funny because I still actually feel fear when it comes to me selling. And truly, I'm going to just convince myself that it's a normal feeling. And also it's part of the process of allowing myself to step into that discomfort, to actually open up my capacity to receive sales, to receive cash flow. What I want you to really look at is, whilst we're going to be going through techniques and processes on how to actually get more sales in your business, feminine leadership and feminine sales comes down to embodiment. Because you and I both know as women that we don't like being told what the fuck to do. So masculine sales is never going to make us feel empowered, or it's never going to make us feel excited about what's to come. You know, like I said before, I've been in a room where I've experienced masculine sales, and to the point where the only way to shift out of that shame is by buying their program. And I knew in that moment that cannot be the only way. And yeah, I've learned so many sales from multi-seven-figure mentors. I've learned so many techniques over the years. And even through my own experience of selling and being sold to, I've learned pieces of what makes me feel excited to invest, what makes selling easy, and what makes investing easy as well. So I'm going to go through what feminine sales is not. So feminine sales isn't being gentle. Feminine sales isn't sugarcoating it. How ironic. Feminine sales isn't sugarcoating it. It's not dancing around the subject. It's not leaning back and waiting for your clients to come to you. It's actually about holding the frame and being strong and holding your worth. The amount of female entrepreneurs that I know who bend over backwards to get sales in their business, who change their pricing structure just to get a sale across the line, make packages specifically to their clients' budget, that is not feminine sales. That shows me and tells me that you actually don't have the self-worth codes or the standard for yourself in your business and your mission to actually hold a higher standard to allow your clients to rise. I've talked about this before on my socials. I don't do extended payment plans. And the reason why I don't do that is because I believe that when I hold the frame for my investment, when I'm selling a client and I hold the frame for the one of two options that they have to be able to work with me, I know that they'll either rise to that standard. And one, that is also ensuring that they are actually committing to them to accelerating their standard. And two, that's also honoring my self-worth. I know that whenever I bow down to my client, I'm going to be basically dishonoring my business and dishonoring their transformation. So I want you to think, like, I want you to reflect on every time that you've had a sale in your business. Have you done any of these things? Have you sat back and waited your clients to come for you? Have you downgraded your payments or been flexible in your payment options just to get the sale across the line? Have you been gentle and just been like, when that first objection comes up, have you just been like, oh, yeah, sure, fine, I totally understand it. When you're ready, come back. No, none of that shit, okay? That is not feminine sales. That's actually pussy sales. No, we want big clit sales, okay? A part of being a strong feminine leader in your business is actually holding a higher standard for yourself. And the thing is, your clients are going to get a bigger transformation when you actually hold that standard, not when you bow down to them. Because in that moment of you bowing down to them, you're giving away your power. And in that moment, you instantly collapse the authority to client or the coach to client relationship, because no longer are you standing in the power. You've given away your power to the client. And they're not going to get across the line, no matter how good you are at objection handling. No matter if you give away your power in the sales process, you're not getting that sale, period. So let me tell you a story on the weekend that happened. Like, I'm currently, I've got one more city to do for my Australian tour. And I faced my biggest fucking fear on Saturday when I was in Sydney. Guys, I went to Sydney. And it's just so interesting. Every time I do an Australian tour, every single city that I go to is completely different. And it's ironic because Sydney, I didn't do very well in sales, but they were the most open in the room. And I went to Melbourne and they were like closed off, like cold. Like, I mean, makes sense because like Melbourne city, it's cold, it's fucking miserable there. So they're probably feeling a bit cold, cut off. But then they're the ones who actually invest. So let me talk to you about Sydney. What happened in Sydney? And I want you to look at how this is actually playing out in your reality, in your business as well. So I was in so much fear of the sales process, and I had the thoughts of, am I even good enough? Am I even going to make sales? Are people even seeing value in this? So yes, I still go through those feelings and thoughts, yet I move with them. Because the truth is, like, every entrepreneur that you look at, every successful coach or person that you look up to who is successful in their industry, it's not like we don't have fear. We do. We just continue to move through it and take action regardless of the fact that we're literally shitting ourselves. Well, I'm speaking for myself anyway, because there's been so many moments in my business where I've been literally shitting myself. I'm like, what the fuck am I actually doing? And also, I trust that when I am following my soul, which is everything that I talk about in this podcast, is trusting your intuition and following your soul, you are always doing the right thing. So coming back to Sydney, I'm going through the sales process. I'm feeling on edge. Well, first I was feeling really good because everyone in the room was so excited. And then I was feeling on edge because I was like, fuck, like, it's coming up to that time where I do the sales process. And I had the least amount of people that I've ever sold in the room sell. And that actually didn't even really matter to me. What I was actually fearful of was when it came to the sale, that people would walk away and they would think that I'm too salesy or that's too masculine. And knowing that in the past, I've been that person that has felt like, oh, this is way too salesy and feeling uncomfortable, I knew that that was a past projection of mine. And my biggest fear was people going through the sales process and actually leaving. And that would make me feel like I'm too salesy. And the irony is, of course, that happened. And I was like, oh my God, my biggest fears just happened. I've gone through the sales process. I put myself out there. I feel like I stuck my neck out. I got a few sales, but the lowest amount of sales I've ever had in a room, and then people have walked out. Now, in that moment, I had two options. I could have either made that mean that I'm not good enough, that I am too salesy, that I am too pushy, or I could make it mean that those people are not for me. And I chose option two because the other irony is I teach law of polarity. And when you are in all of your bigness, you're going to trigger people. When you're going through your sales process and you ask for that sale, for that investment, when you give that $sign amount, you're going to trigger people. And it's your job as a female entrepreneur to hold the frame and know that you are so worthy and that your people will say yes to you. And your people will be excited to work with you. And the people that walk away and say no, they're not for you, and that's okay. And it's so interesting because I know the people that walked out of that room that day, and they were all in high ticket sales. It actually made me laugh because if you get that triggered by being sold to and you are in the industry of selling, there is a problem right there. There is an unconscious problem where you actually don't feel worthy or have the standards to hold yourself when you're being sold to. And if you're feeling so uncomfortable in a sell, how do you think that's going to show up when you're trying to sell your clients? So when we think of conscious relating and how mirror neurons are showing up in your world, if you get uncomfortable being sold to, then this is deeper than actually just learning skills acquisition. This is you being uncomfortable to give and receive and actually hold your own standard and hold your own worth. So if you're someone who does do high ticket sales or has any business in selling, which is probably everyone who's listening to this podcast, right? And you get uncomfortable with being sold to, there's a deeper layer of self-worth that you need to work on to actually feel okay to be sold to. Because I guarantee if you feel uncomfortable whilst being sold to, you probably have problems actually selling clients. So instead of leaning out and being like, oh, this person triggers me, lean out, this is actually an invitation for you to lean in. So when we talk about feminine sales, like I said, it's not about leaning out. It's holding the frame and being like, cool, this is my standard. It's being forward and not dancing around the subject. When I'm running my tours and I get on the call with a client, I straight up give the transparency of, okay, cool, this is when I'm going to sell to you. This is about how we can work together. Because you being transparent in that moment is actually going to build trust instead of being like sideswiped and be like, oh, what the fuck? I thought we were just having a conversation, or I thought this was just like, you know, you were going to teach me a few things. And then you get to the end of the call and next thing you know it, they're asking you to pay them thousands of dollars. No, this is where I want to introduce a new way to sell and how to actually sell like a woman. So feminine sales is all about leading by embodiment. Something that I teach my clients and something that I've been working with very closely with those in my world is how to actually see sales as an invitation to change people's lives. Because right now you have something that other people want. And even if you think that you're not good enough or you're early on in your entrepreneurial journey and you're like, well, I need to get testimonials first before I can actually sell my services, this is actually an invitation for you to see that what you know is like you only need to be 5% ahead of where your client is for you to have the value and the worth to sell them your services. So you don't have to be on top of the mountain. You can still be climbing the mountain and still be ahead of other people. So this is an invitation for you to see that, wow, all the work that you've done, it's ahead of your clients and they still see you as someone who has the knowledge, the solution, and the resources for them to change their life. And now with my clients, you know, I teach them, like at my event, I literally gave the people in the room my sales script, the exact sales script that got me to multiple six figures in my business. And whilst now I don't really use a sales script because I have done that much sales processes and it really is just a skill acquisition, I teach this and say, look, this is a technique that I'm going to give you. And also, how can you be in integrity? How can you lead from a place of embodiment? And when it comes to the objection handling, I don't want you to see this as this person is doing the wrong thing. I want you to look at what's actually beneath that. What's actually going on in this human's world and this human's life for them to come with this objection. And it's not like, okay, here's the objection. For example, I don't have enough money to invest. The actual objection that you need to handle is, do I trust myself? Do I believe in myself that this investment is actually going to get the results that I want? When you can actually look at the deeper layers of objection handling, that's going to actually dissolve the objection and allow your client to feel comfortable enough to want to invest in you. The whole thing around feminine sales is having the client feel like they are choosing to invest, not you're telling them this is their only option. That is masculine sales. That is the old paradigm of business. We're here as females birthing the new earth together, birthing the new paradigm of business. And instead of being told what's best for us, what's going to give us the best results and be fed logistics, like most women, they don't give a fuck about logistics, right? And if they do, they're probably just kidding themselves, because we are creators. We are creative beings. Like the feminine essence is the creator of life. We literally birth life, right? So using tactics and logistics on a woman, yes, it's going to work for some people. And also deeper than that is actually guiding them for them to make their own decision, them to feel empowered to want to work with you. Because like I said before, as women, we don't want to be told what the fuck to do. When we're told what to do, we usually go in the fucking opposite direction. All right? Like I know that because I'm a fucking woman too. And when someone tells me you need to do this, I'm like, no, I fucking don't. I'm going to do what I want to do. Right? So if you can look at that in how you're showing up in your sales process and see that, oh, wow, I'm actually coming at my clients telling them like, oh, if you want to change your life, you need to do this. Or you want to make more money in your business, you need to do this. No, it's guiding them, being like, cool, you can continue doing this and you can continue to choose this path forward. Or right now you have an opportunity to choose a different reality, choose a different result. Because for the last amount of insert X amount of time that they've been in the business doing their thing, and they're thinking like, oh, I'm still just churning the wheels and I'm not really getting anywhere. Once you have your client realize that they are literally creating a predictable future by repeating the same patterns that they've been playing out in their past, and present to them a different option, a different pathway that's going to yield different results, and say, hey, look, at the end of the day, you know what's best for your growth. You know what's best for your business. You know what's best for you. I can't tell you what decision to make, because at the end of the day, only you know. Feminine sales is literally all linguistics, right? It's all your language and how you guide people and how you guide the person on the other side of the phone to the sales. It's not like, oh, okay, you wanted different results. This is what you need to do. And we're going to do X, Y, and Z. Boring. I've already fucking tapped out, right? But if you're painting the picture of how I can create what I want from choosing a different path and empower me and lead me to that decision, I'm in. I'm fucking in. Now, the other day, I invested $55,000 for 6 months to work with my mentor one-on-one. I don't even know how many calls I get with her. All I know is that her and I have a soul contract together. I know that she sees my vision and she sees my bigness and she sees my potential. And I know that, she's the steps ahead of me. So she can give me the tools and the resources and the strategy and the guides to implement into my business logically. But bigger than that is I know that she can guide me through my self-transformation in order for me to become a seven-figure entrepreneur. By 18 months, I would have invested $100,000 to work with my mentor. And it's just fucking illogical, because I'm like, I've invested $100,000 cash to work with my mentor. And from an outsider who operates from logic would think that's fucking batshit crazy. And also I look at it and being like, well, if I'm going to invest $100,000 and it's going to yield me 1 million, well, that's to me common fucking sense. And the way that I can see that is because I can see what investing that 100K is going to give me in value. Sales is only a byproduct of perceived value. And the way to do that with women is having them see the value for themselves. What is it going to create for them? What is it going to look like? What is it going to feel like? What is it going to sound like? What life are they going to live when they have invested? Not what X results they're going to get, not what amount of calls or a fucking spreadsheet that they're going to get. Ill. I don't give a fuck about that shit. I want to actually see what this is going to do for my life. And best believe I'm going to put down multiple 5 figures because I'm committing to the vision in my future. This is how you lead women in business. This is how I lead my clients in business, is connecting them with their future. Because when a woman can fully connect to what is ahead of her, not X results, like obviously, yes, we like the little external validation of like, cool, I'm going to get 10K months, but what is that actually going to fucking do for me? And if you like this is called emotional buy-in, right? And I teach this in my content. I teach this for my clients. When you can have someone really emotionally connect to the vision and the value of what this investment is going to give them, sold. Here's my fucking bank account details, right? Like, my wallet is open. I'm giving you my cash dollars. Because for me, that's more important because I'm moving from the future and I'm creating my future from my future rather than just being like, this sucks. I don't like how I'm showing up in my business. What can I do? Quick fix. That's old paradigm of business. That's masculine sales. And that can work and that will get you sales. And also, I truly believe that when it comes to working with women, it's so important to have them connect to their evolution. Because as soon as a woman is emotionally connected to what they can create for themselves, they're going to be so much more committed to creating that from themselves. Not from a place of being told what to do, but from a place of this is what I get to create when I invest. And that's going to move the needle in themselves and build that level of self-trust and self-belief that's going to change their life and actually get better results from themselves and also make you look like a better coach. If you want to learn how to lead like a woman, how to sell like a woman, this is something that I teach my clients inside my business mastermind. If you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I work with women in business, scaling their business to 6 figures. And predominantly, I do this via business energetics and personal branding strategy. And if that is something that you know that you need to move the needle in your business, babe, what the fuck are you waiting for? You already know what you need to do. All right. So connect with me, connect with my team. And apart from that, I'll see you guys in the next episode. You know the vibe, all spice, no sugar. Bye.